Hello, my name is Juan Velasquez, Solutions Engineer here at Globalli, and in this demo, I'm going to walk you through how to enroll a new contractor in the platform. We're going to capture the contract details, add the contractor's information, set up payment terms, upload the required documents, and finally, review the summary and licensing before sending the invitation. So here we are in the platform, and to begin, we click here in Add New Hire and we select Add New Contractor. Here, the platform gives us two options, Contractor Pay and Agent of Record. Contractor Pay is our service that handles everything related to working with independent contractors, topics such as invoice management, payments, time collection, and ensuring that all required tax documentation is properly handled. Agent of Record, on the other hand, goes a step further. Globalli takes a more comprehensive role, helping to ensure that the contractor is correctly classified, keeping clients compliant so they don't accidentally treat a contractor like an employee, and overseeing the contract setup, compliant payments, and local labor and tax compliance around the engagement. For this demo, we're going to click here in Contractor Pay. Then we can choose whether the contractor is being engaged as an individual or as a business entity. For this example, we're going to select individual contractor. Now we continue. And now we move to the contract details section. Here we define the contract type, where it's going to be a fixed rate per month or per week, pay-as-you-go model based on an hourly or daily billing, or a milestone-based model where each milestone and its payout are clearly defined. For this example, we're going to go with monthly fixed rate, but there is another video where we explore the three different contracts more in detail. Now we move to set up the entity that will pay the contractor. In this case, we're going to select the main entity. Then we're going to specify the project details. First, we're going to enter the project. That's going to be Project X. Then we're going to set up the dates. That is going to be the start date as of today. And we're going to go till the end of April. Perfect. And finally, we're going to define the scope of work. The scope of work can be entered directly in this text area, or we can upload it by simply dragging and dropping the scope of work document into the upload box. So let me just drag and drop. Okay, and now we continue to set up the contractor information. Now we move to capture all the contractor information and the role in the organization. So first we're going to capture the contractor's name, that in this case is going to be Andres Morales. Then we're going to set up the country of residence. So for this demo, we're going to select Ecuador. Here we have it. And then I'm going to just copy paste the email and provide the phone number. Okay. Below that, we define the role within the organization. We're going to select first the department, that in this case is going to be the technology and product. Then the job title, where Andres is going to be a backend engineer. And then we define the seniority level, that is going to be a contractor. Then we can define if the contractor will act as a manager. We can toggle that here. And finally, we're going to assign the direct manager from the directory. That will be Tim Fisher. So we're going to just compile Tim. Here we have it. Perfect. Now let's continue to set up the payment terms. Now we move to the payment terms. Since the contractor is based in Ecuador and we have selected a fixed rate, we're going to start by choosing the USD as a currency. Then we define the bill rate that for this example, we're going to enter $4,000 per month. Below, we configure the invoice settings. We're going to choose if between monthly or weekly invoice cycles, we're going to leave it as monthly. Then we're going to set up the invoice cycle end date. We're going to leave it here. And then we're going to define the net payment terms that we're going to leave it as 15. There is also a toggle to pay ahead of the weekend in the case that the invoice cycle ends on a Saturday and a Sunday. We're going to just leave it off. And finally, we can add a short description of the contractor services. I will just copy paste over here. Perfect. And we can define an order purchase number if applicable and upload the PO document via the drag and drop. But for this example, we'll skip adding a PO. Now let's move to the document section. Now we move to the document section. Here we can upload any supporting files, for example, additional compliance forms or the contractor certifications. Since we have already uploaded the scope of work earlier, we'll continue and upload the main contract. Continue. We're going to select here Make Contract. And then now we're going to just upload it over here. We continue. And now we can see that the preview of the document appears and we can begin setting up the e-signature. To set up the e-signature, we just click here in Set up e-sign. And the integrated e-signature dialog opens. Here we can review the document that we have uploaded, confirm the recipients, and add any additional signers such as the manager or the HR representative. In this case, we're going to only leave the contractor. Now we click Next. And now we can set up the document. Here we place the signature fields, such as like the signature, date signed, or initials, depending on the company's compliance requirements. For this example, we're going to add only the signature field over here. And then we're going to click here in Save and Close. Perfect. Now the document is fully set up, and now we can continue to the summary and licensing. Finally, we reach the summary page. Here we can review all the information that we have entered, including the contract details, such as the billing cycle and payment terms, the contractor information, such as the name, country, and contact details, and even the assigned role. On the right, we also have the contractor cost calculator. This shows an estimate breakdown of the gross payment, any applicable taxes or fees, and the Globalli fee roll up into a clear total cost. Now we continue. And we're in the last step, that is licensing. During implementation, clients can define a pool of contractor licenses. If all licenses are used, additional ones can be purchased instantly, payable by credit card or ACH transfer. In this example, licenses are available, so we just click Finish. The contractor immediately receives an email notification to register into the platform and complete the self-service onboarding flow that is covered in a different video. And that's how easy it is to enroll a contractor, define payment terms, and manage documentation end-to-end, all within Globalli.